So, 2nd of July, I've been on furlough since the 1st of April, and yesterday we got the news that we had all been dreading. Because of our government's continued determination to leave the arts to sort themselves out. Their assistance so far beyond the furlough scheme, which obviously is not directly aimed at the arts but it's been available for everyone. The only thing the arts have directly received has been a pointless, dateless and vague 5-step roadmap to recovery, which basically lists what would quite obviously be the things that would have to happen in order: opening to a few people, opening to a few more people, working up to being completely open, with no date plan for that or how we go about it, just a roadmap for what that's worth. Our theatre management have taken the heartbreaking decision that their 0 hours contract staff are to be terminated as of the end of July, and that a huge number of their salaried staff are going to be made redundant. We are termed at the moment at risk of redundancy on the grounds that should any kind of rescue package be put together in the next 6 weeks, then that redundancy process can be halted. But we all know what the chances of that are. So in effect, 6 more weeks of being an employee of Norwich Theatre Royal, and then that 10-year chapter of my life is over. I can't put into words how heartbreaking this is. I found my job at the Theatre Royal after coming out of a very difficult period of employment at Norfolk County Council, which ended with me essentially crashing and burning out of that environment. It was an awful environment that I couldn't take to, and pretty much broke me. And I did some agency work as part-time work, and then found a job at Theatre Royal, and beyond any doubt that changed my life. I found myself in an environment that I loved, working with people that I love, for an organisation whose aims I genuinely believed in. I am a huge believer in the arts and their importance in everyday life, and as a charity whose work is aimed at education and community work, it's an invaluable part of Norwich life, and it is being slowly ground into the dirt because our government doesn't see any need to help this sector. Now, I'm not going to pretend that we're the only sector that's in trouble. Obviously we're not. There are redundancies all over the country in all manner of industry, but as shops and other venues open up, theatres are still closed, because we were one of the first types of organisations to have to shut down, and because of the nature of what we do, we will be one of the last ones to open up, and theatres aren't in a position to keep on supporting their staff while they're having to remain closed and the furlough programme is being wound down, because most places can go back to work. They're stopping the furlough scheme for everyone, and those places that are unfortunate enough to be left out, theatres being one of them, tough shit and game over. And so this place that has meant the world to me, that has genuinely turned my life around and giving me new motivation to be the best worker that I can be, and been the happiest 10 years of my life in employment terms, that period of my life is over. And it's over for want of anyone in power caring about it. And that's heartbreaking. I can't even process this at the moment. The news only came through yesterday. My wife's besides herself because she knows how good this has been for me and how devastating this is for us. It's not just the loss of income, although let's not pretend that that's not a serious issue. This is so much more because it's her husband's mental health, because it's her husband's life that he loves, and she can't think about it without crying. She said she woke up this morning crying, which she can't remember ever doing before about anything. I've not cried much yet because I think it's still sinking in. There was always a part of me that had hoped that it wouldn't come to this. As realistic as I tried to be about the prospect, I just hoped it wouldn't. And yet here we are. And here am I, 45 years old now, going into a job market that's going to be flooded with people wanting jobs and barren of opportunity. So I don't know where I go from here. I'm not highly skilled. There will be, for most things, people who are younger and more skilled than me. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. And there's no guarantee that I'm going to find something else to do. And it's terrifying. But it's so much worse knowing what I've lost. I just don't even know what to feel about it. I don't know whether I'm angry, or how much I'm angry, how much I'm hurt, how much I'm devastated, how much I'm lost, because it's almost as if I can't comprehend that this has happened. And a lot of this will make me look absurd, I know, because there have been other people who have already approached this, whereas I've been making these video diaries, most of which have been fairly good-natured. I've been reasonably happy on furlough. I've been coping. We are very lucky in a couple in that I'm not the main breadwinner in the house, although Sarah works for a local authority, so there's no guarantee that that's, they're going to have their own shortfalls to make up, so we can't guarantee that's going to last forever. But at the moment we're okay. There will be some redundancy money coming. There will be, presumably, if I don't find work, some kind of benefits, and we are lucky that our expenditure is small and we don't have children. There will be colleagues, even of mine, who this will have far more devastating financial consequences than it does for us. And far more immediate. So in many ways I am still blessed, and I don't disregard that for a moment, believe me. But I feel like I have worked so hard to turn my life around in the last 10 years, and I made so much progress from where I was as an individual when I left the council. And it's on account of the environment that I was lucky enough to find myself in, and the people that I was lucky enough to find myself working with, some of whom quite feasibly I now won't even see again, because we're not even in work while this redundancy clock ticks out. And I love you, and I miss you, and I am going to miss you, and this is horrible day for all of us. And I am angry. I am so angry that the arts as a sector has been just left to wither on the vine, and that we have a culture and sports minister who clearly cares more about sport than he ever does about culture. And we are an industry that feels left on our own, and an industry that feels betrayed and abandoned by the people who should be looking out for us. So my heart goes out to all of you, and you know, my colleagues in Newcastle, my colleagues in Plymouth, and my colleagues in a number of other venues across the country who have already faced this, who are facing this, and those who aren't facing it yet but will face it. Because this industry that does so much for this country and financially brings in so much for this country has been deemed to be unimportant by the people who could save it. I'm praying for us all, and my heart goes out to you.